got Precious coming in here. What have you seen from him, and that Miami sort of physicality thing, does that travel well?
Well, he's physical. He's big and strong. He's got a lot of talent. He's looked good out there. You guys will see him when he gets up here. He's a really personable guy. Easy to talk to and very coachable. But he plays with a little bit of a snarl on his face on the floor, which also we like. Right. So he's been good. He's very, very talented. He just needs a lot of reps and some time.
How much are you going to be able to use him?
Well, I would imagine he's gonna be right in the thick of things. I think I haven't thought a ton about Monday yet, as far as who's gonna start and who's gonna play and all that stuff. But I think we're at a spot where guys are going to play to their conditioning level or a bit past it. Right. This is time to get guys minutes and get them in shape. So yeah, we'll use him. He'll be out there for sure.
That toughness, can that sort of make up for lack of size? And going to be 7-footers, but the 6'9" guys bang people and be tactical.
Yeah, I think so, Doug. It's a physical game, as we all know. I always like to say, if you don't think it's physical, then try, sit along the baseline some night. Get some seats down there along the baseline if you don't think it's physical and you see how physical it is. But he's got the size and strength and kind of, again, that's the toughness that'll enable him to play, just about anybody, I'd imagine.
And if you haven't had a lot of guys like to hit first and serve that would be.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he's, the physicality of being a hit first guy, I think is there. I just think force is a word. He plays with a lot of force, like when he screens and rolls, he's coming down that lane with some force, right? And you're either going to have to stand in there and stay stood in there, or you're going to meet him with some downhill speed and strength. So it's good too. Again, it's early, but he's looked really good. You'll see he's talented. He's not just a big that rebounds. He's a big that can do some things. So
You would have had a lot of opportunity to shoot very much in Miami. And is that just something you can sort of bring along, their willingness to take those shots?
yeah, I think so. I think that he's a pretty good shooter. Right. We're really working on it, obviously. And, there's times when that guy, depending on the matchup, is going to get those opportunities on the perimeter. Right. And he's capable out there. So, yeah, there's a rhythm to some of the shots he'll need to take. And then there's a matchup situation that'll give him some opportunities as well. So, yeah, I'd expect him to. You guys saw him in summer league. He grabbed the ball and take it coast to coast and lay it in. He can handle and he can move. He needs, again, like all these young guys, defensively, they're gonna be a lot of mistakes from rotations and coverages and all those things that just take time to learn, and also just some rhythm things on offense. Know when to attack and when to move it on to the next guy and then to get into the next action. All those things. But again, I'm the athleticism and toughness and and then the skill is there. Just need some time and repetition.
You mentioned his physical physicality on the 29 the red. That's great. That's something you didn't really have until campaign last year. Did you sort of realize that's a pretty important part of what you want to do offensively?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, more and more in the league, you see the kind of the lob roll threat. It's really hard to guard, especially when the guard's coming off that's a scorer as well and talented to throw that thing late, because there's a lot happening there in a lot of those situations. But normally the roller, it's going to put some pressure on the rim and then therefore put pressure on the weak side of the defense. right? So you're either covering the ball, and if you're not, the roller's open. If the roller's open, the weak side's got to cover him, and then the weak side's open. So it's just kind of a thing. If you don't have that, then they don't have to play the weak side very honestly, or the rim very honestly, and they can play the weak side a little harder, and then again cover those things up easier. Just makes those threes tougher, and driving lanes close up a little easier. So yeah, a roller and guys that can roll are a tremendous advantage to any offense.
And, Warren last book with conflict. Another fresh
Your name's Oren.
Warren,
Nice to see you, Oren. Yep.
another one about Precious. So everyone you talk to references the work ethic. Really work hard to get where you're. So in terms of the cultural, how does he fit into it?
Good. I mean, I think you're right. There's a maturity level, I think, of understanding what professionalism is. Like he's putting in his pre and post and night and all those things. He's doing his, diligence in the weight room and the stretching, all that stuff. So he understands the kind of the work day, I think, which is awesome for a guy his age, that he gets it. And I always say that he can get it, but it doesn't bother, you don't see any like, oh, I got to do this again. He just understands it and knows that what he needs to do to get to where he wants to go. So that's good. And again, I think there's some consistency in how hard he plays, right? He's going to go attack the glass, and he's going to get on the floor if he has to, and he's going to try to guard and, all those kind of things. So it's good. It is a good fit with that culture wise.
Would you say the defense that you want to play requires better intelligence or experience? You have to be smart to handle your.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that there's, those things are really closely related usually in this game, right? Experience and intelligence. I think that first and foremost, I'm just trying to figure, like, you gotta understand, and this is probably where the experience part comes in, or the IQ part. You gotta understand when there's problems that you need to go help solve them. Right? Like you need to there's my guy, and you're like, oh, there comes a big problem. Well, but that's my guy. And you let the guy lay it in. I mean, like when there's problems coming, usually at the rim or an open shooter, you got to, and that almost takes a little bit more of a chemistry than anything, right? That we, you understand that we give them the freedom. I mean, when we're at our best defensively, you're seeing teams, heading towards the rim and getting swallowed up pretty quickly. And there isn't really that strict a rotation, but it's more of a feel and so it's kind of like multiple guys should be going. You've seen some of those clips where somebody drives and like all four guys can start conversion, and then they figure out who's going to get there first, and then they start kind of breaking off into the rest of the play. So some of that's just more chemistry and us doing it and over and over and over and getting that mentality of taking care of the problems.
Is it the same on offense where it's reading and kind of reacting?
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively, and this is kind of showing itself a lot right now because the early days is there's a rhythm. I know I always talk about the rhythm to it, but when the ball gets swung, it's either time to go or time to move it on. Right. And right now we're probably over going, right? It's probably time to swing it on and then get to the next action. And you probably end up getting it right back instead of trying to crack and play one-on-one, or there's nothing there. And we're probably, probably overgoing right now rather than moving it on and getting to the next action. But I'm giving them a little freedom right now to see what they can do and all that kind of stuff. But we'll try to clean some of that up too as we go here.
Is that a product of the number of jobs that might be available?
I don't think so. I always find that it's not a it's a problem of probably just, again, not enough time and reps, not a super clear understanding of what's there. And it's not really selfishness. It's like the guy trying to make a play, and understanding there's maybe a play that's a count better or a tick up better to move it on and go to the next action rather than, I got to make, I think I should make the play here. But the better play or the really good plays the next one over. I think it's just timing and some clarity, right, of understanding what it feels like out there a little bit.
We haven't talked very much about the competition for guys. There are 2, maybe 3 roster spots available, 5 or so guys.
Mm-hmm.
What do you look at as the determining factor when you talk about these guys, say I want these 2 or those? What factors went to the guys?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Doug, and I think it's a number of things. Let me see. My first thought would be this: you probably used to back in, you used to think you get to 9, 10, you kind of had your guys, and those were your guys. And I think that's probably that thinking has changed a little bit here with the frequency. COVID has something to do with it. You could lose 2 or 3 guys, and guys are going to have to come from 12 to 15 into the rotation. I think it seems like there's more guys out and there's more COVID issue. There's more reasons that guys are moving up in the rotation a lot. So that's one of the first things I'd sit there and say, okay, we kind of know who our, we don't know what our 1 through 5 is exactly, but let's just say we know our kind of 9 guys that we probably expect to play, or 10, just for clarity's sake. Who's going to be really good at bumping in and going from a 13th man to an 8th man, right? Or does that, how we've done it sometimes in the past too, is that 13th guy goes in the starting lineup, so we keep that second group together, whatever. So who maybe would fit in those kind of roles? I don't, again, I have, kind of, that's a thought, I guess I got to continue to think about a little bit. And then usually, Doug, I guess it probably comes down to a couple things, which one of those guys are doing some of our core principles at the highest level, and we chart and hold them accountable to that stuff every day. We want to know who's getting deflections, who's blocking out consistently, who's on the offensive glass consistently, it isn't necessarily, about, this guy's, of the 5 guys, he scored the most points. It probably doesn't really factor into it very much. So who can understand the stuff the quickest, who can maybe be versatile and play a few positions if they need to. And then you always got to think about the future too, right? Who do you think, you look at him and say, what, if he hung around for 18 months or 2 years or 3 years, he might really move up into that, has a really good shot of, taking their ceiling, or reaching closer to their ceiling in the future, be it a combination of skill, work ethic, IQ, whatever it ends up being.
So that last one, that moves down the list now, given all the uncertainty. Tough development. Bring a guy along.
Yeah, well, I think that we got a lot of young guys, so we're definitely in some type of development stage. But I always say "but" because of that, because we're developing. Even I hope we were developing Kyle 8 years ago, and we're always kind of develop them into being more complete, better, consistent players. But with young guys, you're probably going to hear that word a lot more, right? Pardon me?
Do you see the 2, sophomores? See them as sophomores, or are they rookie plus? Like traditional sophomores, or where are they?
No, I think they're not rookies, right? I think you can sense that they've got an understanding of what a training camp looks like and feels like, and a lot of understanding of terminology and all, a little bit probably more than any of the rookies would, for sure.
Yesterday we talked about training camp.
It's a clinic. No, I'm just kidding. Camp, clinic, school, lab. Hold on a second. Yes, a lot of shooting.
Have you ever seen a shot that you don't think you can fix? Do you think you can fix any of the shot?
I haven't until now. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, listen, I think that it just depends, right? I think as a coach and talk about anything, and I think I could, if we went out there and spent some time and you were willing to do some work, I could improve your dribbling, your pat, I think you could take any skill and try to make some adjustments as long as you were coachable and then you wanted to put in the work, then yeah, I would imagine we could improve your shooting. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hi, Nick.
Right. Might help you. You never know. You may enjoy your Sunday league game or whatever league you play in. Be like, man, what happened to you? You're shooting lights out now. Anyway.
Sign me up for that too.
Okay.
You've been asked a bunch this week about the interchangeability of this roster and really test the weakness of it. I know you're in the thick of it and you're trying to figure out how all these fit together, but does the innovator in you really kind of get excited about seeing where this goes and how this goes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for sure. I think there's, I don't have a whole lot of, this is the way it's done in me. Right. I always think there's probably a better way to do it or a faster way to teach it or a more efficient way that they can learn or all that kind of stuff, even if it's very similar. And there's probably always wrinkles, counters, and whatever you can add to it. And I think there's always, skills guys can continue to improve on, as good of a handler and passer that as Pascal is, he can get better at both of those things. And that will enable us to do, even more things, I think. And that's what we're trying to do is get guys to be able to handle, pass, drive, and shoot. Yeah, but no, it's fun. Huh?
Further to that point, we will presume that Kyle would have had input, rather forceful in his time. Well, this squad has things to say, hey, why don't we try this? Or why don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
This could work the other way.
I mean, I would say a number of them do, right? And there's certainly kind of open line of communications with a lot of them. I think that when I come with a new idea or new thought, I really try to present it, to the team first and foremost, and then usually a good portion of them will kind of get there and start. We usually have a vision, a plan right behind it, and then some drills, and then, to build it. But yeah, I think you're talking through the finer details or why do you think, coach, why do you want to do this? That worked just fine. I said, yeah, that did work just fine. This one might be better, I certainly talk to the guys that have been here. Really, mostly is usually, and not even that. I mean, I bounce ideas off Goran. He's been around a long, and he probably has more questions, because he's new yet experienced a lot, and it's interesting to kind of have that back and forth with him about. And it's nice to get his feedback about, well, I remember when we played you, this was a problem and that wasn't, and this was, and that, some of that's always kind of good to hear too.
So this is your international experience, people like you, we'll say, look, we did this with Slovenia 5 years ago, maybe it works here, or our personnel might be out there.
Well, I haven't really gone into the specifics of any of that stuff with him, Doug. We have talked a lot of national team. I think it was just yesterday or 2 days ago. I spent a lot of time. We were both just sitting around well before practice, and we were going through some of that. I coached against him a long time ago when he was playing for Slovenia. We were in the same pool with Great Britain. I think he told me he played 15 years for the national team, and really just going through how great it was and his love for playing for his country, and how special that team was, and all that kind of stuff. So, and talk through some coaching and who coaches and who's coming and who's going and stuff like that, but not yet on some of the stuff. But we have discussed, that's one thing, like with Trevor will bring up a lot of the FIBA you know, take the ball out here. And that's what I did. And, you know, but when we did in FIBA, we had to do here and we, you know, just slight adjustments to some things just again, to give the point of view and the why behind some of the stuff. Yep.
Last question goes to
Hi, Katie. Okay. Well, I think probably, you know, I think a lot of it, probably a lot of his excitedness probably would come as he sees a role there, maybe wide open to fight for, rather than, you know, the kind of solidified right down there. That's always tough to kind of sit there and go, wonder when I'm going to get some chances, you know. That'd be first thing. Second thing is again, I just, you know, I'd probably just sit back and watch and just let him play, right? And see, you know, geez, I would have told you I didn't know he could snap a rebound and go coast to coast till I saw him do it in like the first summer league game. And I was like, whoa. And then, you know, then he threw one over to the wing and he just blew right to the basket by his guy and, you know, pounded it on something. You're just like, okay, this guy can drive the ball a little bit, which is good. We like that. Right. You know, so then you're going and then you got him in some drills and you're looking at his shooting, you're trying to again get there and just going from there. And I think there's not a whole lot he can't do. You know, we play some one-on-one, we have some one-on-one tournaments and he's winning those frequently. So he's, you know, he's got a little bit of scoring in him too, but it's just, again, it's like, okay, where I say this a lot, like, how do we clean up his game? Like, how do we give him like a few decisions to make and, you know, and we'll get to some of that, all that stuff later, but we got to, what's going to kind of fit and help him be most successful right now, build his confidence while he continues to expand. So I think I'm in the stage of now I've seen he can do a lot of things. You know, what's the package going to kind of look like here early on? And then, you know, how's that going to grow in the future? But again, I think he'll have the versatility to do a lot depending on matchups and chances that he gets. And you know, I just hope again that he can learn quickly, you know, the defensive schemes and things to make good plays there. Things at that end. Well, he's got good feet too, so he can be part of our switching package.